Habitualize creating health and happiness. Hello everyone, it's Mazen. Welcome to the Maximal Life. Let's go back to the last time you created something. That new company slogan, that presentation that absolutely blew the client's mind, the new product idea that is selling like hotcakes even today, or the time you taught your son to ride a bike, or put your baby girl into her float and took her for a swim. Remember planning that special anniversary night surprise that left your wife speechless? Or when you remodeled your home into your dream home? Remember how all that felt? At that time, in that moment, hold on to that feeling for a few moments. Savor it. Absorb it. Let it sink in into every fiber of your being. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels great, in fact. It is a feeling you won't want to give up. A feeling you could live with every moment of every day and it still won't get old. It is that invigorating feeling of having brought something to life, having created something, having instrumented a positive shift in your life and that of others. That, my friends, is the magic of creating. You see, creating can be such a powerful prescription for actualizing our own happiness that is surprising more of us don't make it a habit. In a culture that celebrates consumption, even conspicuous consumption, the idea of devoting mind, space, and time to actual creation is almost radical. But don't get me wrong, I realize consumption is essential. We all need to buy things: food, clothes, furniture, entertainment, books, music, you name it. The economy runs on consumption. But what about mindless consumption? What about unproductive consumption? More importantly, what about excessive consumption? Social media, video games, TV, shopping, or even emotional consumptions like seeking approval and appreciation. Do we really need so much of all that? The more we consume what's available, the less likely we are to create something new. And the less we create, the more we feel compelled to consume. It's a vicious cycle, but one that is easy to break. Consuming is necessary, but creating is uplifting. I have to tell you about this study that I found very moving. Researchers examined the impact of emotional writing on 37 HIV-infected patients. The findings of the study suggested that emotional writing had a direct benefit impact on the study participants and their blood work after the intervention. Similarly, expressive writing is also seen as an active therapeutic tool in psychiatric settings and as a way for survivors of trauma to come to terms with their traumatic experiences. Isn't that incredible? That engaging in a simple creative activity, such as writing about something personal or an emotional, could have such a positive impact? Have you experienced how listening to a piece of music or looking into that beautiful picture makes us feel happy, uplifted, or simply melts away our stress? I know it has happened to me frequently, so I decided to try and understand how the creative process makes the audience, but more particularly the creator, happy. How visual arts therapy, music engagement, writing, and movement-based creative expression can help improve health. The verdict is clear. Creating something new clearly helps reduce adverse physical and psychological outcomes. Creativity isn't a modern construct. In fact, consumerism is the modern construct that has created imbalances in our lives. Think about our prehistoric ancestors and about what they did with their time. They spent most of their time creating, making tools, finding and creating shelters or nourishment or warmth. They even used their time to create primitive drawings in the walls of caves that today give us a fascinating and invaluable insight into our own history. This is how nature meant for us to spend our time, engaged in actively seeking, creating, building, and innovating. The creative adult is the child who survived. I'm not sure who said these words and when, but for me, they make perfect sense. Using our creativity is about being able to look within ourselves and tap into our primitive selves, our instinctive abilities. When we are born, we are our unadulterated, pure, genuine selves. Societal conditioning and expectations robs us of much of this authenticity. to be able to reconnect with the child within each of us. It's about plumbing that inner creativity. It's about peeling away the layers of conditioning, the inhibitions, the hesitations that have to come to overlay our inner child, our original, authentic self. I acknowledge the fact that creativity requires courage. It needs us to grapple with the unknown, to take a plunge that may have us flailing in the dark before we're able to make any sense of it all. It also requires us to rise above our fear of being wrong, our fear of failure. But when you set aside your apprehensions and reservations, you will realize that creativity is intelligence having fun. Albert Einstein is supposed to have said these words. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But either way, they make so much sense. Because creativity is about giving yourself permission to truly express yourself, to share your soul with the world. This is all well and good, but we are not all born creative and brilliant, I hear you say. To that I say, creativity is not a narrow or limited construct. It isn't confined to what people commonly understood by it. Creativity is about being original or brilliant, but isn't just about that. True, we all have different abilities and talents, but what Steve Jobs said is also true. Everything around you, what you call life, was made by people that were no smarter than you. As one of the most successful and creative people of this generation, he clearly knew that he was what he was talking about. Creation is not just about writing a unique and original story, or creating a brilliant painting, or crafting stunningly beautiful piece of music, or clicking that unbelievable photograph. Creativity is that, but it's not just that. You don't have to be a brilliant musician to tap into your creativity and to benefit from it. Even the process of learning music benefits cognitive ability and well-being. In a way, musical training improves connections between specific brain regions. Doing things like drawing, sculpting, woodworking, or engaging in meaningful social interactions such as book clubs, the theater, study of language, and traveling during middle age or later in life lowers chances of developing mild cognitive impairment by 71%. That's too huge of a difference to ignore. Creativity and creation is about engaging in anything that makes things happen, that precipitates, that participates, that experiences, that produces. It is any kind of positive output or participation, anything that isn't passive intake. Taking proactive decisions, solving problems, finding new resource-conserving solutions, learning positive new behaviors are all of these are considered creative acts. Just the cutting of non-constructive, distracting, and non-productive behaviors is also creative. So during my experiments with creativity, when I took a break from social media for a week, this had two positive consequences. One, it freed up mind space for more creative and stimulating pursuits. And two, it also freed up more precious time for me. The more creative you are, the more creative you can be. We've all heard that old adage about the human brain. What you don't use, you lose. And that is how it is with creativity. The more you create, the more rewarding it is. The more you are inspired and able to create. Sometimes it is when we encounter our own limitations or when we are faced with a specific problem that we feel compelled to be creative. What we call thinking outside of the box, and when we end up surprising ourselves. And that feels good, doesn't it? So firstly, accept the fact that you are a creative being, different from all the other 7 billion creative souls on earth, but creative nonetheless. Then relinquish your hesitation and your reticence. Trust that you can elevate yourself. Learn to see things from different angles, not just the obvious ones. That is when creativity will strike. You can have an idea about something, so turn it into a business. You feel inspired? Turn it into art. Turn words into poetry. Turn thoughts into action. Build, write, innovate, create. Leave behind the legacy of things you brought into the world. Be a part of the game, not a mere spectator. Do not just consume what others create. Step into the arena. Create for others to consume. Clear the physical clutter around you. perform a ritual cleansing of that which is unnecessary and which impedes or slows you down. This helps to clear your head and redirects your attention towards the stuff that matters. Learn something new, a new language, a musical instrument, or a new sport. All of these create new connections in the brain, spurring fresh thought and new ideas. Take up a new hobby, gardening, woodworking, anything that gets you charged up. Activities stir the imagination and help you produce as against mere passive consumption. Try to involve loved ones and friends in your creative pursuits for support and to make it all more enjoyable and rewarding. Express yourself. This can be through music or dance, painting, the theater, or just by journaling. Dance is a form of self-expression that is also seen to improve body image. Music is uplifting and joyful in so many ways that any sort of participation in musical activity, say singing, playing an instrument, or exploring new world genres, all have a stress-relieving and bettering impact on the mind. Here's one of my faves, journaling. Journaling in a notebook, private or public blog, take your pick, has long been seen as cathartic. It is also a tremendous creative outlet. Your ability to articulate and narrate personal experiences or to create a completely new story may well surprise you. Create to rise above mediocrity and achieve greatness. Get involved in a charity or voluntary organization that helps build your own sense of self and which also helps you improve the lives of others. Learn to meditate or engage in similar spiritual activity that brings you closer to your inner self. Use affirmations where you encourage yourself with positive self-talk and find the courage to do what you know you have the ability to do. Do not be afraid to be silly. Sometimes the best ideas are hidden in the ones that seem silly at face value. Identify and cut out the activities that eat up your productive time. Disengage from social media. Reduce time spent on senseless TV programs, low-quality information, or celebrity gossip. Cut out the mindless clutter and engage in things that offer real knowledge and make you more mindful and more valuable. Thank you for joining me today. Find the higher plane of being. Be the creative soul you are always meant to be. Create the successful business. Create the fulfilling life with your family. Create that healthy and fit you. Create the maximal you, leading the maximal life. If you like what you have seen and heard, please subscribe.